Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to have you here with us. Welcome to today's session. My name is Maisara Othman from Rise School. It is a great honor and privilege having you with us today. I'd like to remind everybody to kindly mute your microphones as you join the meeting, just so that we're able to hear all the amazing insights that Dr. Patricia has for us today. Welcome to today's session, brought to you and sponsored by the Rise School with Dr. Patricia Murugami. We are so excited to be launching this new leadership school with you joining us today. Thank you very, very much for your time. It's a great honor. I would like to welcome our founder and visionary, Dr. Patricia Murugami. I will read her profile just for you to get to know a little bit about her as she joins us shortly. Dr. Patricia Murugami is a global leadership catalyst and the founder and chief executive officer of Breakthrough Leadership Transformation. She is also an ITC SheTrades global consultant, specializing in crisis management, leadership resilience, and new normal strategies. She's a published author, an award-winning speaker, transformational coach, leadership educator. She holds a doctorate in business administration, transformational leadership and governance from International School of Management in Paris. She's passionate about inclusive leadership and has enabled many women and other minorities in East Africa to serve as executive and board directors. She is currently the chair of the Clean Start Governance Board, a social enterprise that works with women and children impacted by the criminal justice system to restore dignity and hope for successful reintegration. She has also served on multiple boards and is a sought-after board advisor and executive team leadership coach. Her work has reached over 100,000 people and has been honored with awards such as the Top 25 Most Powerful Women in C-Suite Impacting Business 2021. Your Next Best Self podcast with Dr. Patricia Murugami is one of the top 3 most influential podcasts in Kenya in 2021. The National Diversity and Inclusion Business Executive Champion Award in 2019. Jacob's Well Most Impactful 12 Women in the Region in 2015. And top 40, under 40 in 2010. She is joyfully married to Murugami, and together they are bringing up their children. Please, would you put your hands together in the chat? We could
hey, that big man's
the icon to welcome Dr. Patricia Murugami. We are so excited to have her with us.
I will now show you.
Welcome, Dr. Patricia Murugami. A polite reminder for everyone to kindly mute your microphones as we welcome Dr. Patricia. Can we have some reactions of clapping our hands as we welcome Dr. Patricia to this stage? Welcome, Dr. Patricia.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Maisara. Thank you, Betty, for the work that has been done behind the scenes. It's wonderful to see 500 of you and counting. I see many others on YouTube. You know, when we sent out this flyer yesterday, I remember telling my team that, you know what? I wonder how it's going to go. I wonder whether people find that they're too busy to join us. And you can imagine by the end of yesterday, we were at what? We were at over 1,000. So I remember thinking to myself that there must be a lot that we can gain from. And you know, what's amazing about this is that at the beginning of the year, it is important that we're very clear about what it is that is critical for us. And so as we do so, I want you to open your journal. Open your journal. Open your journals. If you can open your journals, then we are ready. We are ready to move forward. I want you to ask yourself, what is it that you need to do? What is it that you need to do? Yeah? What is it that is critical for you? And I want you, as we start this entire session, to stop and ask yourself, can you fight the distractions and the sideshows? Fight the distractions and the sideshows. So we have reached the capacity, and so I'm going to ask my team to close the meeting. And those who may be causing disturbance, we shall exit you graciously in a moment or two. So ladies, let's keep going. Let's keep going. And what will happen is that anyone who's distracting us, we shall just remove them. This is what happens in life when you're very focused on something. There are people who will come along and they will find ways to distract you and to challenge you and to find ways in which they are going to ensure that you do not do anything. So I want to encourage you. This is a sign of how life is. Some of you are only focusing on the chat and the distractions. Stop it. They're not going to stop this show, right? Why? Because sideshows and distractions are the #1 killer of excellence. They're the #1 killer of excellence. So let's agree on some commitments. I see some family members. I see a lot of people online. Those who are on YouTube, I encourage you to continue learning. And what I want you to do is to honor yourself, that the next 60 minutes are your time. You as an individual, you as a family, you as a team. Do you agree on that commitment? The second thing I want you to remember is the word focus. Follow one course until successful. Until successful, follow one course. And so if you're going to follow one course, the first way to realize that is that there'll be people who want you to focus with them. So don't worry. Don't worry. At the end of the day, it is you and your goals. So what I want you to remember is the first thing is that we have the breath of life in 2022. Can you thank God for that? Thank God for that. You know, as I was preparing the session today, my family have been part and parcel of this organization and really making this work. And in a few minutes, I'll share a little bit about some of the things that they told me that I must mention. And what's important is for us to ask ourselves, how can we first be grateful? So take a moment and write down one thing you're grateful for today. One thing, just one thing. Write it in the chat, write it in your notebook, but write it anyway. Yeah. Take a moment, right? Very good. And write in your journal 2 things that you privately feel so grateful for that you may not be able to share on the chat. I'm looking at the chat, I'm just seeing all the things you're saying. Yes, yes, keep at it. Health is a big one. You know, the fact that you're able to sign on to this session and you can see or you can hear, because I know some of our clients who can't see are here, but they can hear. And those who are on this session, maybe they're even unwell, but they have chosen to come on. So write down what you're grateful for. The heart that is grateful goes much farther, goes much farther. And as you think about gratitude, let me then share my screen and explain to you what I felt when we thought about the word excellence. What does excellence mean to you? What does excellence mean to you? Many times when you think excellence, we think getting ahead at any cost. We think raising our standards. Some people confuse excellence with perfectionism. But today I want to share with you some basics, but also some reminders that will make a very big difference on how you look at excellence. Now, do you wish for excellence in your life? Write down one area that you feel is lacking excellence in your notebook. I know you may not be able to write this online because it's public, but I want you to write in your notebook one area in 2022 that you want to ensure has excellence. Have you written it down? Remember, I said this is an interactive session. We'll have a time for Q&A halfway through the session, and then we'll be able to talk about the what next. And if we can think about that, write down that one thing that you feel this year, this must be the area I focus on. You see, ladies and gentlemen, and I see you from so many parts of the world, I want to remind you that when it comes to excellence, you've got to ask yourself why. But before we go to why, let's start to define the what. So let me share my screen. Elevating your excellence in 2022. Excellence is not an accomplishment. It is a spirit, a never-ending process. A never-ending process. Now, that's the first thing I want you to remember, that excellence is not a destination. It's a never-ending process. And when you remember that, then you stop beating yourself for the times when you haven't been as excellent as you'd have liked to be, because you have an opportunity to raise the bar. You have an opportunity from today, count this as the first day of the rest of your life. Sounds cliche, but it is true. Some of you are here as spectators. I hope not many. I hope not many. Others are here as hostages. I have to attend that thing because my friend told me I must attend, and there's no way I can actually show them that I didn't attend. Others are here because you are a learner and you've chosen to be a learner who is critically thinking about where you need to go. So, what kind of person are you? I hope that many of us, if not all of us, are learners. And if you can think about being a learner, then it makes a world of a difference as to how you will elevate your excellence. You see, I didn't ask you to start your excellence. I know by pre-selection, if you chose to be here with the right intention, you already have seeds of excellence within you. They are already within you. The issue is, after 2 years of this pandemic, maybe you can't even see that level of excellence in yourself. Maybe at the end of it all, you're asking yourself, could I really do it after the way these last 2 years have been? We believe you have it within you. And in fact, the whole idea behind Rise School is very much about knowing that people are already at a stage of rising. Our role is to help you rise even further. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention. So my first question to you is, why do you want to be excellent? It is also the result of sincere effort. The key word here is sincere. And the third thing, intelligent execution. Not haphazard, not careless, intelligent execution. So let's analyze that. Write in your journal, and I hope many of you have your daring journals. What is your intention? Is it to get ahead, to compete with that competitor, for the business people on this call, for those who are in corporate, to get the next promotion? All very noble things in themselves. But when you get that, when you compete with your competitor and get to be number one, then what? I dare say, so what? You see? So we've got to start challenging ourselves. Is my intention the highest level of intention I can get to? And can it be consistent, not accidental? Because you see, when we're clear about our sincere effort, then it makes a world of a difference when it comes to the intention and the execution. So challenge yourself. Is my level of excellence an accident? Is it high intention? Is it sincere effort? Is it intelligent execution? Now, excellence is not being the best, it is doing your best. In my first book, Rise, I talk about the saboteurs that block us. I talk about top 10 internal barriers to be aware of. Perfectionism, procrastination, Messiah complex, Superwoman or Superman syndrome, ruminating on the past, multitasking, critical spirit, imposter syndrome, won't ask syndrome, I won't ask for help syndrome, I can't toot my own syndrome, toxic comparison. Which which one is plaguing you? Yeah, page 15 of Rise. I want to focus on perfectionism because I find that many of us struggle with comparing excellence and perfectionism. You see, perfectionism is the highest form of self-abuse. Because when you're a perfectionist, and I have been a perfectionist at some point in my life, it can actually cripple you. Because even when something is going on, for example, we started off today and we had a hacker. I could have just said, oh my goodness, this thing has failed. No, no, no. We will manage the hacker, we will not be distracted, and we will move forward. Now that's the spirit of excellence. When you're a perfectionist, you always think everything must be perfect. It has to go according to plan. When it doesn't go according to plan, what happens? We start to kid ourselves, push ourselves down, talk negatively to ourselves, become toxic poison within ourselves with our thoughts and our words. But you see, everything comes from the heart. So when you're excellent, yes, you raise the bar, you do your very best. But you realize that life will always throw a curveball somewhere. So you allow yourself to extend grace to yourself and others. And another thing about people who live with excellence is they also recognize everyone's effort. They acknowledge when they are wrong, so they have a sense of humility. They also acknowledge that they may not be the brightest person in the room. In fact, if you're the brightest person in the room, please change rooms. If you're the brightest person in your friend group, I think it's time to either elevate the friends or increase the number of friends who are better than you. That's a spirit of excellence. Those who love excellence and are aiming to be excellent, as we all are today, are choosing to constantly be perpetual learners. Perpetual learners. So, excellence is not being the best. It is doing what? It is doing your best. Doing your best. And when you're clear about doing your best, everything changes. Because my best today is certainly not going to be my best tomorrow, which is why we promise for those who engage with us, to our clients and our breakthrough community, that your next best self, not become your best self, your next best self. In other words, it is a journey continuously of beginning again and again until the point we are 6 feet under. And in fact, Saint Josemaria, whose writings I follow and I love, said that pride will die 24 hours after we are dead. Can you imagine that? So we are dead, but still there's still something that could be running on that is about how we look, how we performed, how we did certain things. And that's why it's so important for us to ask ourselves, what is my intention for being excellent? So let's talk about 4 aspects that I have found blockers and can also be catalysts for us. And as I walk through these 4 areas, I want to encourage you to have this mindset. Betray your past worst self in order to become loyal to your next best self. Did you hear that? May you betray your past worst self so that you can become loyal and faithful to becoming your next best self. Your next best self. When we are clear of that, something changes. Something changes, and it changes ways that you will not imagine. Because you see, the idea of hiding that you have chosen to become your next best self means you stop looking back. For those of you who have read the good book, the Bible, and I know I see Muslims here and Asians here and people of different faiths, there was a story of a woman who looked back and became salt. Recently, I shared on one of our social media platforms that only look back to thank God and to remember how far you've come. Not to compete, who is behind me? Who else is around me? Am I moving as fast as I can? No. Only look back to make the decisions, to constantly thank God, but to also realize you've come from far. So at this point, I want you to write down one thing that in your lifetime you really prayed for and you have received. One thing. Because I have found that we quickly forget. We have selective amnesia, that we forget that one thing that we prayed for so long. Let's imagine it's a job. You prayed for that job, you applied for it, you went for the interview, and now you are dragging yourself in your work. In a moment, we'll talk about what that does to your spirit of excellence. I want to encourage you as we go on to keep noting down your thoughts and ideas in your journal, because this will be on YouTube, which means you can play it again. But I want to encourage you, the things that happen in your subconscious now are telling you something. The first power is the power of your will. The first place I want to encourage you to ask yourself, what is the level of excellence in my will? You see, Victor Hugo said, people do not lack strength. They lack will. People do not lack strength. They lack the will. So, did you know there's actually an international day of breaking New Year resolutions? Did you know that? Can you imagine? There's a cynic, someone who just said, people will never have the will. If you run a gym, chances are this is your best month of the year. Yeah? And then what happens? People pay for the whole year and never show up. How many of us have ever gone through that experience? You pay for something, you had planned to do so from the beginning of the year, but you never utilize it. That is a lack of will. And here you'll allow me permission to speak candidly and freely, because what you allow to influence you, what you listen to, has a very big impact. And I recognize that there are very many noises and voices around us. So what is your will saying? Now let's talk about your will practically. The first thing is to ask yourself, when it comes to your physical well-being, what are your goals for this year? What is your physical goal? Let's say your goal was to skip 100 skips. Just skipping 100 skips. And I know maybe my doctor is here, so he's thinking, I wonder how she's doing on that. Yeah, but maybe that was it. How have you done? Today is day 6 of the year. When it comes to your alarm clock, how many times do you press snooze? Or do you jump out, kneel down, say a prayer, thank God, and get on with the business of the day? Remember that your will is become stronger based on you keeping your private commitments. You see, those commitments that only you, yourself, and you know. When you keep that private commitment, it spirals over time to become a spirit of excellence publicly. And here we're not talking about perfectionism, that you will always manage. No. And the spirit of excellence also recognizes that we're human and we're fallible. And so if you're human and fallible, we know that there are times we will not succeed. There are times that we will not quite do it the way we wanted to in terms of the raising the bar of excellence. But what I want to encourage you is that it is important that you ask yourself, which is that one goal physically that I have chosen for myself this year? And what is that one goal going to do to help me in terms of becoming excellent? So your will. Let's say you're in a group of friends, and those friends are constantly just gossiping, always gossiping about this, that, and the other. And 2022, you've said enough of mind-limiting conversations. That's what they're called by them. Yeah? Enough of mind-limiting conversations. What I'm going to focus on is conversations that actually build me. So if someone comes to me with what we call in Kenya, moshene, other people call it prayer intentions. Can you believe it? Let me tell you something. We have to pray for so-and-so. That is gossip. Let's just call it what it is, right? And unfortunately, we are there saying, yeah, let's pray. No, 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 no. What we're doing there is passing on the gossip. Let's become the gossip blockers. When someone comes to us saying, I want to tell you this about the other person, you say, oh, let me call them so that you can tell them in their face. The power of your will when temptations are high. You're at work, 6th day of the year, and you're working from home. And you know that your boss cannot check whether you're working. You choose to have the will to say, when I'm working, I am working. I am working. I'm putting my 8 hours, whether I'm being watched or not. Your will is the determiner of your destiny. And you see, some of the challenges of the will is how you feed your conscience, how you form your conscience. What are you telling yourself? What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you thinking about? Take a moment. What's your thoughts audit for today, up to now? Where primarily have your thoughts been? In Rise, I said that where your commitments are, that's where your convictions are. So the power of knowing yourself and recognizing that you may be going through a hard time, and so you may not have the strength. The other day, a very close friend of mine called me and told me, you know, I'm really looking forward to us meeting up. And what was fascinating about that is she told me, I'm going through a hard time. I know you are also having a bit of a hard time, but I need you to pray for me because I can't pray for myself. And I was on my knees immediately because she knows she's in a hard space, but she's not allowing her willpower to go down. She's asking for other people to support her. You're in a business that may be struggling, and you're thinking, I know it all. No, you don't. Find a way to learn something. There are so many free sessions. One of my mentors told me when I was in the career space, and I thank God that mentor told me that. She told me, Patricia, always budget for school fees for yourself. Budget for school fees for yourself. How many of you have budgeted for school fees for yourself? How many of you? Yeah. So it is so important to be clear about the budget to strengthen your will. Because when you strengthen your will, very few things will take you down. I'm fascinated about an auntie of mine and I see her children here, so I won't mention her name, but she has inspired me to no end. She's unwell sometimes, but she still has the power to call, to encourage, to say she's praying, even when she can't move around. What is the power of your will? Is it crippling or is it catalyzing you to become excellent? The power of your weight. What do you see there? What do you see there? What can you see there? I hope you can write in the chat so that I can see any comments that may be there in the chat, or that maybe the chat has been disabled. But the point is, I can see some people saying some things. You see people waiting at a bus stop, yeah? And it's so important to ask yourself in 2022, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for in 2022? What are you waiting for? Write down in your journal. I'm waiting for a job. Some of us are job seeking. I'm waiting for a promotion. Some of us are looking to get promoted. I am waiting for a breakthrough financially. I'm running an organization that depends on donor funding. I am. What are you waiting for? Write down what you're waiting for. On the personal space, someone is waiting for a child to be born. Someone else is waiting for a spouse. Someone is waiting for a family member to come back into the fold. Someone else is waiting for someone to get healed and recover fully. Someone else is waiting for an exam and to pass that exam. I don't know about you, but there's a power of your weight. And if you wait with excellence, your weight is meaningful. So what do I mean? Looking at that picture, you can see that there are very many people waiting at a bus. I see some people here from the US, others from the UK. I remember studying my doctorate in the US and waiting for the subway. And when you get in the subway, I was always fascinated to watch people. I love to watch people and understand people. And I remember one of the things that stood out for me is that people were so engrossed in what is called the new posture of adoration. Do you know the new posture of adoration? Is the one where we are all looking at our phones. To the point that doctors now are beginning to treat neck challenges because of the number of hours we are spending adoring, in quotes, our phones. So I remember the idea of waiting. I've waited many times, and even now I'm waiting in my life for something, waiting for that client to say yes to us 5 years later, waiting for that opportunity to partner with this corporate, waiting for something in my family space. But what is important, ladies and gentlemen, is how you wait. You see, some of us are waiting at the bus stop, figuratively, stamping our feet and very angry that the bus is late, according to your time. Others are pacing up and down, trying to walk to the end to see whether the bus is coming, wondering, why isn't this bus coming? Others are challenged because at the end of it all, they cannot even move. So they are wondering, who can help me even get onto the bus when it comes? And they look around and everyone is engrossed with their lives. Someone else is befriending someone, making a friend of someone who looks lonely and lost. You know, that actually reminds me, in 2019, my school fees for that year was to go to Wharton. So I went to Wharton in April, and I really wanted to attend a conference that was being led by Adam Grant, who's one of my author mentors. And I get to Wharton, and I get into this big room, and I'm not one to be afraid, really, generally. I used to be very meek, by the way, many years ago. But I'm usually the one who will go up and talk to people. But in this case, I guess I just felt out of sorts for whatever reason. And I sat at the back of the room. And as I sat there, I remembered, my children. Of course, now they're at home. And I'm thinking, gosh, I'm so far, but I really hope this sacrifice is worth it. And I hope I'm going to learn a lot. And this gentleman comes up to me and says, hi, you're from? I mean, it was very clear that we were probably only two Africans in that conference at the time when I arrived. I said, I'm from Kenya. I said, where in Kenya? Nairobi. First of all, I was so impressed that, he even had a sense of Nairobi. And I remember him saying, oh, I have been to Nairobi once. We're looking to expand our business. And he sat down and talked to me and just, very general conversation. And his conversation made a difference. Why did it make a difference? Because I always tell our children, no matter what, make friends with the lonely girl in your class. When you go to a party, don't huddle up with people you know only. Look around and ask yourself, who looks uncomfortable? Who doesn't feel like they belong here? Go and speak to that girl, because that girl could also be you. And that day, all the way at Wharton, I was that girl. So maybe in the power of your wait, because we're waiting for the conference to start at that time, for me, it was that person coming to speak to me. And just by having that conversation, I felt at home. And when I felt at home, what happened? I said, remember what you coach your leaders, that you cannot go into a conference and sit at the back of the room. Walk right to the front and get a seat on the front row. You can't have traveled this far to sit at the back of the room. The power of your weight. How many of you are waiting, facing the opposite side of where the bus is coming from? You're so distracted with so many distractions, sideshows, things that are taking away power and energy from you. And instead of looking out, how much time do we have before the bus comes? You are losing that time. How many of you are rolling your eyes and saying, I was not made to wait for a bus? This is not my portion. It is your portion. For as long as we are alive, there are going to be places of waiting. And so rather than rolling our eyes and saying, I'm not meant to be here, ask yourself, what am I meant to be learning during my wait? How many of us commute every day? How do you spend your commuting time? Do you study? Do you listen to audiobooks? Do you pray? Do you learn a new language? I remember one of my reverse mentors, a very young reverse mentor, in the first year of the pandemic, 2020, she went on to Duolingo, an app, and learned Spanish. Me, on the other hand, I was there saying, I'm not so good with languages, self-limiting beliefs that block our weight. And she told me, no, you can do it. And so I said, okay, maybe I need to freshen up my skills on one language. Some of us are waiting without wanting to wait. So how can you raise your sense of excellence during the wait? Study, grow your skills, make new friendships. I think the art of friendship is forgotten in this time of social media. I know that people who even try and hack are just lonely people trying to get some attention. Behind those voices and spaces, there's a soul that feels lonely. Some compassion will go a long way, even as you correct the various people in your circles. When you're waiting, learn your environment. Figure out who is influencing who. What is going on as I wait for that promotion, as I wait for that next thing? Analyze yourself. What is it that I need to do better, that I am not doing so well, that my wait has continued for so long? Because I know that when we are asked to wait, and sometimes it's not so clear that we're being asked to wait, there is a lesson that we need to learn in our wait. Ask yourself, I'm not getting a yes to that answer. Is there something that I need to elevate in terms of my spirit of excellence when it comes to my physical well-being, my mental well-being? Because when you're waiting, you can really grow your mental well-being, studying, learning, connecting, engaging in productive ways. And you can also raise your heart when you're waiting, because you tell yourself, I will not be toxic to myself. I will name this wait. This wait is painful. But as this wait is painful, I will make sure I am very clear that in this wait that is painful, I can actually do what? I can ensure that I will learn much more in terms of how I can become a good friend. How many of us engaged better? How many of us engaged better in 2020, 2021? When we're waiting for things to open up, have you become a better person in 2020, 2021 than previously? Because you chose to use this time of forced waiting in a way that elevated you and elevated your spirit of excellence. The power of your wait. Don't waste your time on social media, which by the way has its place. But if you're just scrolling through TikToks and Instagram to just ensure you get to see another curated image and not learning anything, maybe it's time you ask yourself, how many minutes am I spending on Instagram? And how can I then challenge myself to actually do much more than I thought I could do with my time? The power of your wait. The power of your well. Your well. What do I mean by well? What do I mean by well? You see, many of us don't realize that we have a sense and responsibility of deepening our well and refreshing our well. You see, a well, from where I see it, is your entire collection of resources within you, skills, talents, strengths, networks, and capabilities. And the deeper your well is, hopefully, if you have dug it well without a shortcut, you will then bring up water. And as you rise, you will lift others, because the water that you're giving them actually has an opportunity to do what? To refresh them, to strengthen them. The power of your well. How deep is your well of self-knowledge? How deep is your well of strengths? How clear are you about your blind spots? How clear are you about your hidden self? Things you don't know about yourself that others don't know because you have never tried. The power of your well. When it comes to thinking about your well from the angle of excellence, build your well consistently when no one is looking. One of the books I'm reading is Carl Newport's book, So Good They Can't Ignore You. Yeah, right now you've been working in that space no one has ever seen. You've run your business for so many years. Somehow you're not breaking even. You are struggling on the family front. You're struggling with so many things you're struggling with and you want to give up. Don't throw away the towel. In fact, I would like to recommend that just stay put and learn something. Ask yourself, what am I meant to be learning this time. Remember the wait. To dig your well very deeply, you need to exercise patience. You need to wait. And by waiting and digging and using the best technology to get to that water, your well is a significant aspect of excellence. What is the status of your well today? How much water is coming out of your well to refresh other people around you, to teach other people, to strengthen other people? How many? How many are relying on you? How many can rely on the power of the excellence of your well and how you constantly renew it? Or are you still doing the same things you used to do in the same way 2 years ago? I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not. I hope that you're actually challenging yourself and saying, I am a housewife. I am a professional homemaker. And by the way, hands up for all the housewives, mothers in the house, fathers in the house, godparents, aunties, anyone who's taking care of anyone. Because the ability to look at that as a gift and then to turn it around and say, my well has to be deeper so I can refresh these people who rely on me, makes a very big difference. That homemaker, and I know a number of them who are my friends, one of them told me, Patricia, 2020, I said, I'm going to learn the cuisine of Chinese cuisine, Indian cuisine. I'm not going to waste that here. And we're going to have the children, since the children are eating so fast and eating so much, let me figure out how to multiply my resources. That is deepening your well. I remember a board where we were trying to get them to elevate, because many times people serve on boards as a status symbol. Rarely do I see people, and now I'm seeing an increase. But in the past, it was a status symbol. I get to this age, I'm now on the board, I'm operating on 10 boards, which by the way is ineffective. And I remember in this session, I was challenging them to think about how deep is the board legacy well, that they will remember, they'll be remembered that during their tenure, this is what they did for that organization. Many of you are managers here. I want to ask you, how deep is the power of your well? Are you building it? Are you refreshing it? Are you renewing it? Looking at the future of work, looking at the new problems that have been solved. You entrepreneurs, stop chasing money. Chase the problem that needs to be solved and the money will follow. You see, we live in a life of shortcuts. And so the ability to dig a deep well is already going contrary to everything else that's going on. I want to encourage you. Just as my younger daughter, she was helping us just set this up, said, Mom, that's the right picture to use. Because when the well is deep and clean, that is the water that refreshes others and helps them rise. The power of your well. The power of your work. There's one that I have missed out. Let me just stop showing for a minute because you need to see it. I'm welcoming your comments, welcoming your comments on the chat so that I can see what is resonating with you. What is resonating with you? Just want to move up the one of work. We'll be opening up to questions in a moment, so just hold your space there. The power of your will, the power of your work. Pray as if everything depended upon God and work as if everything depended upon man. What is the level of excellence of your work? What is the level of excellence? Do you work in such a way that it's not about the promotion? It's about helping solve a problem. By the way, if you're employed or you're running a business, you are supposed to be solving a problem, not creating one. I serve on the board of Clean Start, and Teresa Njoroge always says, those who are closest to the problem usually are closest to the solution. So I want to encourage you. If you are itching with a problem that irritates you, it's very connected to the work you ought to be doing. I want to encourage you to pray as if everything depended upon God, but work as if everything depended upon man. What is the quality of the tools you're using? Are you still using tools that were of the dark ages? Or have you upgraded your skills? How do you work? Are you working smarter, more organized, more orderly, wasting less, helping others, enabling others to know their craft? You see, one of the things I've realized when it comes to leadership is you've got to ask yourself, am I ready to grow? And most people say, yes, I'm ready to grow. But let me quote something right here that I shared recently. When it comes to work, page on Paul's, my second book, today be an intentional finisher of the open-ended projects you keep saying you'll finish tomorrow. Work and finish. Finish well. Finish that MBA. Finish that degree. Finish that run. Finish that assignment. Finish that hard conversation. Finish intentionally. Finish well. Finish well. You see, when we finish things well, that's a spirit of excellence. And when you have a spirit of excellence, everything changes. Everything changes because you value that work and you realize work is not only about putting bread on the table, but it's actually a prayer. It is a service to mankind, and so is leadership. So what's the status of your will, wait, work, and well? That is where your excellence this year, I would encourage you to challenge yourself and ask yourself, what's the level of my excellence in my will, in the way I wait, in the way I work, and in my will? So what do you commit to do next? Do or do not. There's no trying, okay? I'm getting to the tail end of my time with you. Do or do not. There's no trying, there's no halfway. This year, choose not to be the hyena who tried to walk on two roads. And at the end of the day, you know what happened in that story. It's either you do or you do not. Say a gracious no, thank you, I'm not able to do that. And say a wholehearted yes, I'm ready to do that. In fact, in our Be a Will network, we will be reading the first book, is The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. In that network, which is a global network, we read a book a month and we have a leadership session every month. I think our next session, possibly at the tail end of this month, will be about the power of networks. And so what I have realized, the people you surround yourself with will challenge you or will cripple you to do or not to do. So do or not, there's no try. I want to encourage you. It's either you choose to take care of your self-care. What is the excellence level in your physical well-being? Make one goal, one goal. Someone wrote to me and said, we never tire of seeing your unapologetic self-care. This is for you. And actually every year and every quarter, every month, I have to assess myself. Physical well-being. What is one thing I'm going to do with excellence in my physical well-being? Mental well-being. What is one thing I'm going to do to elevate my brain power so that I can serve people better? Third finger, emotional well-being. What am I going to do? And which emotion do I want associated with me? The other day we were having a family meeting and we agreed, each one was saying, this is the emotion I want associated with me. So if you have been angry the whole of the last 2 years, maybe this year you want to choose another emotion. Deal with that anger and then work on that emotion. Spiritual well-being. How can you elevate your spiritual excellence? Financial well-being. Solve a problem, make the money, save the money, use it wisely, even get that coach you need so as to manage your standards of excellence around your self-care. You see, when you ask yourself, how am I doing? I hope you remember these 5 fingers. Challenge yourself on the systems you've put in place to ensure that you're excellent. Now, you can pray while you work. Work doesn't stop prayer. Prayer doesn't stop work. It only requires that small raising of the mind to him. I love you, God. I trust you. I believe in you. I need you now. Small things like that are wonderful prayers. Ladies and gentlemen, our ability to raise ourselves and elevate our level of excellence is service to mankind. This is Saint Mother Teresa, another mentor of mine. And I felt it was important to share this quote because she did small things consistently that were hidden with a spirit of excellence. I want to remind you that life will offer you a lot of invitations. Be wise enough to choose which ones are worth attending to. Thank you for honoring this invitation. But I actually want to challenge you to invite yourself to another kind of. I want you to call yourself in, to invite yourself to elevate your ability to rise in 2022. Rise School is what made this possible. And so it's only fair for me to talk about the Rise Masterclass in Leadership that we painstakingly, and I would dare say lovingly, went through many hours of preparation over the last year because of your feedback. Many of you who have read the book Rise, others haven't, have experienced us in different ways. And they said, Patricia, we are so far all over the world, and we need to find a way to engage with you in a deeper, more consistent, elevating way. We heard your call, and that's how Rise Masterclass is an invitation. I hope that you will be wise enough to honor yourself, to raise the caliber of your leadership, certainly leading yourself. You see, there's enough atmosphere for all of us to rise. Whether you're down there, whichever shape, size, color your career and your life is, at the end of it all, there's enough atmosphere for us to rise. If you have an abundance mindset, you will realize that only your mind is limiting you from growing further. And so I want to encourage you to join us in the Rise Masterclass, your personal leadership circle with me. It's a 12-week self-paced leadership circle. It's delivered virtually, meaning we have already done all the growth books, the videos for each and every of the manifestos around raising your heart with excellence, raising your head with excellence, raising your hand as you lift others with excellence, and raising yourself for a higher purpose, which is a real intention we ought to be looking for when it comes to excellence. It'll also include 4 live virtual group coaching sessions for only those who are in the Rise Masterclass, which means during the period of 12 weeks, they have an opportunity to get coaching from me and actually find ways to unlock themselves. At the end of the day, clarity gives you power. And so I want to encourage you when it comes to this masterclass. My promise is that you will gain clarity of purpose. You will get courage of conviction. You'll get confidence to speak up, raise your hand and lift others. And you will have the will with excellence to do what truly matters. Take advantage of the early risers discount price. I know some of you have asked us to actually do an extension because the time is here. But I want to end by saying Jim Rohn said, let others lead small lives, but not you. Let others argue over small things, but not you. Let others cry over small hearts, but not you. Let others leave their future in someone else's hand and continue complaining about everything else but themselves, but not you. I know that you who have taken the time to register on our website, because we will share with you nuggets on how you can keep rising. Each and every one of you who have taken the time to join us today, and we'll watch this again on YouTube. Those of you who've taken the time to say, I remember a client called me the other day and said, I'm taking a cooperative loan because I have to do that Rise Masterclass. I am not going to buy a car. I would rather invest my money in raising myself and others. And the money will follow. Ladies and gentlemen, excellence is in your weight, your will, your work, your will. Remember, be so good that they can't ignore you because you're solving a problem with excellence inside out. I want to encourage you to betray your worst self, your past worst self, so that you can be loyal and faithful to your next best self. I want to remind you, as you're thinking about school fees for your children, you are also a child of someone. Plan your school fees. You know, my parents, I know, are watching this, and they did so much to ensure, Mom and Dad, I love you. And they did so much to ensure that at the end of it all, I learned everything I could in the first school of home. And so I want to challenge each and every one of you. Don't leave your ability to become better in someone else's hands. Yes, I know some corporates are here and you're thinking of how you're going to engage your teams onto this Rise School. It is self-paced, which means you have access to that content beyond this time. Without further ado, I now open it up to a few comments in the last few minutes we have, and any questions that can be posted also on the chat. I'm happy to read them. Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. Any comments? Let me see if there are any questions. Any comments?
Hi, Dr. Patricia. Paula here.
Welcome. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Please go ahead. We can hear you very well. We can hear you very well, but you seem to have gone off. So I'll allow, if you can raise your hand. Yes,
Thank
Paula,
you.
go ahead, Paula.
I like the fact that I need to appreciate the fact that I need to be so good, but that people cannot ignore me. I think that's a one takeout from this session. Thank you very much.
Most welcome, Paula. Lovely to hear your voice. And thank you so much for that takeaway. Diana Chebet from Kenya.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patricia, for this quite informative session. I've learned a lot. And in this year, 2022, I've learned to monitor my level of excellence through the 4 W's: the will, the wait, the well, and the work. Thank you so much for that. I'm grateful.
You're so welcome, Diana. Irene Gadenji, followed by Edith, followed by Israel. Swiftly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Murugami. It's been a very special session. I just wonder whether you'll avail another discussion before the enrollment for those who want a little bit more information.
Please contact us and we're very happy to give you more information. So just contact us, write to us. I see my team members are there. You can write to us on the email address, which is on the poster, and we'll give you all the information you need.
Thank you so much, and all the best in the year.
Welcome, Irene. I hope to see you in Rice School. Edith Sidondo, go ahead.
Wow, Dr. Patricia, that was amazing and very timely. This year for sure has to be different for all of us. And you've just reminded us what we need to do to make it so. So thank you very much. Very useful nuggets there. And I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edith. Edith is a money coach, has taught us a lot. She's part of our network. Thank you so much, Edith, for everything you keep doing virtually and physically.
Thank you, Dr.
Welcome. Israel, this is your moment.
Thank you so much. And asante sana, Dr. Patricia, for everything that you have said today. It's really been quite a life-changing 50 minutes. And I hope to also join you in the masterclass. However, I had a question, which is a little bit aside from what you've been talking about today, but I feel like it's still based on your line of speciality. It's a question on purpose. And the question is simple. Here goes the question. So many people usually feel that if you pass a certain age, I don't want to say, if you become old, then probably you could miss out on the age of finding out your purpose. So my question is simply, is there like a required age for one to find their purpose? A purpose can be found at any age. Yeah, that's the question.
Excellent question, Israel. Thank you so very much. Looking forward to seeing you in the Rise Masterclass. There is no expiry date on finding and living your purpose. There is no expiry date. This is the moment. Start off now, figure it out. And in fact, thank you for saying that, because as part of the Rise Masterclass, we have a whole set of modules on finding your purpose and living it. And I know that plagues a lot of people. There is no expiry date in finding and living your purpose. I hope that answers.
Yes, thank you so much.
Welcome. Sanda Ojiambo, all the way from New York. This is your moment.
Thank you, Dr. Patricia. How are you?
Very well. Happy New Year.
Thank you. I have a question, and thank you for the learnings and the continued inspiration. But so we live and work in an ecosystem, and I'm wondering, what is your top tip for us to be able to also influence the ecosystem? Because I think there's a lot of positivity that you bring and a lot of, really breakthrough thinking in terms of living and being. But at the same time, we live in reality. So how do we make these shifts that can then be impactful and allow us to be, as you say, our next best selves all the time? Because we can't always enroll our entire ecosystem in your sessions.
That's a great question. And Sanda, thank you for that. Well done on everything you're doing in that space, that ecosystem, which I know is a global one. And I want to encourage us, sometimes you feel that you can't make a difference. start with the power of making a difference with one person, yourself. And then the power of your example is the most powerful leadership tool you will ever have. But also exercise compassion and realize there are days that I don't have this energy. Imagine, it's true. There are days that I'm relying on others. When that friend of mine calls and says, today I'm not calling to ask for advice, because as you can imagine, I give a lot of it. And people always want it. I'm calling to just find out how's Pat doing. And to allow yourself to be lifted by others. So there are days that are tough and there are days that are not going to be so tough. I think there's the power of habit. And habit makes such a difference that even when you don't feel up to it, you have automatically set systems in place that help you go so much further, even when you don't have the energy. So a couple of things I've mentioned there. One, be compassionate with yourself, that there are times when things may not go as planned. Two, exercise that courage to actually make a difference to yourself and just one person. If every one of us, over 1,000 of us, 2,000 maybe, who are on our website, now we have your contacts, can make a difference with one person. Imagine the ripple effect. What if we did 10 people? Imagine the ripple effect. So remember, there's a power in small beginnings and the power of touching one life, one moment at a time. That's what I'll encourage you to do. And remember that your example is the most powerful leadership tool that anyone will ever use. Monica Waga, Dr. Emma Otieno, Gloria Atuhariwe.
Hello, Patricia. I'll not put my phone on. Thank you very much for this session.
That's okay.
As you did, I just wonder, what did it take? What did it take for you to get to from where you were then, maybe a bit more shy, where you are now, somebody very, very confident? Maybe it's a long answer, but I'm sure you can summarize.
Okay, I'm going to do a very short summary. But in fact, within the Rise School, we talk about the power of your leadership circle. I think I had the benefit of a lot of mentors very early in my life, as early as when I just came out of high school. And that made a very big difference. I had the chance to go to clubs where they tried to help us develop our character. Some of you know the Faidas of this world, or Diaries of this world. But I must say the first school was my home, my family of origin. And so, the lessons I learned from my parents, and I continue to learn from them. And now, almost 20 years after getting married, the lessons I learned from my husband, you see? So I have found that over time, having an accountability circle of people who you give meddling rights to correct you and not take it personally and to challenge you to grow makes all the difference. A short answer to a very heavy question, challenge yourself. Who are you allowing yourself to be accountable to? And do they have meddling rights to correct you, no matter how senior and impactful you are? Emma Otieno, Dr. Emma Otieno.
Thank you very much, Dr. Patricia. Lads, always, I just love listening to you, and I don't know. Okay, in terms of lessons, I think the best has been this issue about the power of weight. It has really resonated with the things that I've been pondering upon on how to start my year. And it's just spoke to what I was searching for, so that's excellent. And of course, the issue of planning for school fees. Okay, I never thought it was a lesson like I can deliberately do that. I'm starting to, I think I start with Rise. So we see you at the class. Thank you so much, and keep it. Yeah.
Welcome, Dr. Emma Otieno, also a member of BIA. You can see the BIA members, many of them are the ones speaking, Sanda, Edith, Dr. Emma, and the rest I know you're coming, right? Better that you become risers. Dr. Emma, I'm glad the power of waiting spoke to you. Gloria Atuhariwe, you must be all the way from Uganda. This is your moment.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Thanks for the great session. I love that you always reference your children in your presentations. So my question is around that. How do you build that kind of excellence with your children? Thank you.
That is a hard question. Let me just say, someone the other day told me, you never know how successful you are with your children until they're adults. So for me, the space on the home front is very much every day, just trying. Yesterday, I lost my temper. Let me apologize. Who says that I can't apologize, right? Today, I needed help. It's been a hectic day. Help me, come, pull it together. What I've realized is the power of family meetings, the power of goal setting. Maybe take this session and watch it with your family. I want to encourage you that If you can turn our family into friends, it makes a world of a difference. And for the younger ones, let them see you work at it. Let them see you struggle. There's a season where I love to cook, and there's a season when we were recording the Rise School. It was such an intense season because I've had very many balls in the air. But you know what? I hadn't been to the kitchen as often as I would like, and I want to honor, my husband, who has really juggled the balls in many ways, challenging me to keep rising, and also me helping him rise. And one of the things I remember, we didn't have a household for the whole 2020 because we really wanted to focus on, can the children do all the housework? Because that's exactly where leadership begins, on the home front. And I tell you, I would do a session like this, and I ran, next room is the kitchen, wear my apron, get and start washing dishes. We had different days for different things. So make it real for people. Make it real for your family. I think one of the things that we think is that the children can't do a lot. As young as 4, a child can make their bed. Yeah, so let's try that. And for those of us who have older siblings, may not have children, maybe find ways in which we can connect with our siblings even better. I hope that answers your question, and I'm happy to connect with you on LinkedIn or on the site. But I hope you join Rise School, and we shall delve even deeper on the matter of leading yourself in the personal, family, and organizational context. Final question, Dolika and Koma, this is your moment.
Thanks, Dr. Patricia, for that excellent presentation. I just wanted to attest to what you said about the power of the well, because this has become very real for me over the last couple of months. I worked in a job for 10 years, and I tried to get promoted, tried to get international jobs, and tried everything. And it didn't quite come through. And my manager then just kept telling me, sort out the basics, master your skills and everything. And I did that. A couple of months ago, I got a new job. And what I'm finding is that everything I learned on the previous one is what I'm using. So I'm having not such a smooth sailing, right? But I'm just grateful that I had a moment to just learn. I think you spoke about us needing to learn and to exercise patience and just deepen our well. And that works. It's really helpful. So thanks for just putting it in very nice words.
Thank you so much, Dolika. I really appreciate your comment. I'm so proud of you for having the coachable spirit and the humility to listen to those statements, go back to basics. Because you did that, you have then continued to now rise. You see, sometimes when the weight is happening, we are so bitter and angry. I know, and may they rest in peace, those who passed away during this time. But I want to encourage you that it is so important that you truly and deeply realize you are where you're meant to be right now, with the pain, the sorrow, the baggage, the issues you may have. The question is, what will you choose to do? Will you choose that your current circumstances will cripple you to move backwards, or will you choose that they catalyze you to move forward? I want to end our time today. This whole recording is available live on YouTube. Please put your comments there, watch it again. We made it available courtesy of Rise School because we feel that it's an innate need in each and every one of us to rise and become our next best selves. I want to honor my team, Betty, my Sarah, Cornelius, the Creative Concilium team, Stephanie, Ian, and a lot of other teams in the background who have actually helped us get to this point. I want to honor each and every one of you for honoring yourself to invest in 73 minutes of your time to rise with excellence for a higher purpose, not for a promotion, not to look good, not to compete with your Form 4 year mates of 20 years ago, not to show your brother or sister, you're gonna see who I am. No, no, no. For a higher purpose, to solve a problem that only you can solve with a set of gifts, strengths, qualifications, experiences, good, bad, and ugly that you come with. Thank you very, very much. You'll be hearing from us. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you on February 14th, Valentine's Day, when we start the very first session of Rise Masterclass. God bless you all. A life of excellence for a higher purpose. Thank you.